York Times has detailed the disturbing things found in Jeffrey Epstein's massive Manhattan home, which is described as a 7-story palatial townhouse in Manhattan. Now, the townhouse was one of 5 properties that Epstein owned, and we still don't know how the pedo college dropout became so damn wealthy. That's still a mystery. But after his release in 2009 from a Florida jail, where he served 13 months for soliciting prostitution from a teenager, the mansion served as both a personal hideaway and a salon where he could hold court with accomplished intellectuals, scientists, and financiers, according to legal records and interviews with people who frequented the home. So one of the things that was found were letters that were written to him for his birthday, his 63rd birthday to be specific. And the Trump drawing that the Wall Street Journal had written about, that was apparently part of the birthday letters that were sent to Epstein for his 50th birthday. So this is a different set of letters for a different birthday of Epstein's, his 63rd. One of the letters came from former Israeli prime minister, from a former Israeli prime minister who seemed to be very close to Epstein, suspiciously close. Ehud Barak, former prime minister of Israel, and his wife noted the great diversity of guests in their letter to Epstein. Quote, "There is no limit to your curiosity," they wrote in their message, which was compiled with others in January of 2016. "You are like a closed book to many of them, but you know everything about everyone."
Why did they write this stuff down? Isn't that amazing? I mean, this is now the second or third story we've covered where these powerful people are like, oh, including Donald Trump, oh, we know you like them young and you have all the secrets, just please don't tell it. Why are you writing it down? It's amazing.
So Epstein preserved a map of Israel drawn on a chalkboard with Mr. Barak's signature, according to a photo reviewed by the New York Times. More on that in just a moment.
Oh yeah, no, don't say it, don't say it. It's definitely not Israel. It's definitely not, I mean, he has a map of Israel in there. No, but it's not Israel, okay.
I would bet money it's Israel. In their typed letter, Barak and his wife hailed Epstein as a collector of people.
Ugh.
Who says that? Like what does that mean exactly? But there's more. So just quickly going back to the map of Israel drawn on a chalkboard with Barak's signature, there were other things found. So in 2021, Vanity Fair had a fantastic piece detailing other things about Epstein, but more importantly, that Epstein invested $1 million in one of Barak's business ventures. Barak reportedly visited the East 66th Street condo building. Alan Dershowitz said he once arrived at Epstein's townhouse as Epstein and Barak were wrapping up lunch. On a chalkboard, Barak had drawn a map of how the West Bank should be divided.
But it's definitely not Israel. It can't be Israel. The prime minister is telling Epstein how they're going to divide the West Bank because, but unrelated to that, he says, way to go, you have secrets of everyone wrapped up.
Yeah, it was a blackmail operation, if you ask me. That's my personal opinion, and there's just more and more circumstantial evidence that bolsters that opinion. As far as evidence bolstering the claim that Epstein was an intelligence asset who was running a blackmail operation, several of Epstein's victims have said the mansion was outfitted with a network of hidden video cameras. Why would you have hidden video cameras in this property in which young girls are being assaulted and raped? Like, what would the point of those secret cameras be?
Okay, so guys, there's things we don't know and things we do know, and mainstream media at large usually calls everything conspiracy theories. So, but then sometimes they do good work and we find out interesting stories from them, okay? So credit where credit's due. Okay, so we don't know who the blackmail was for. So it could be CIA, it could be Mossad, it could be just, it could be both, it could just be Epstein. It could just be Epstein and Maxwell, right? All those are possible. What we do know, if you're a sentient human being, is that there was a blackmail operation. Because think about it, you're gonna record people getting illegal sex with underage girls. Why would you do that? Because that would be evidence against you as well, right? Because you're running the operation. Who records like hundreds of hours of evidence against themselves? The only reason you do that is to be able to say to those guys, I have you on tape, now you gotta do what I tell you. Anyone who says otherwise is either really super dense, like wear helmet indoors kind of dense, or is purposely lying to you and saying, oh no, don't look, we don't know if it's a blackmail. It's definitely a blackmail operation.
So there were other birthday letters for Epstein's 63rd birthday. So the director Woody Allen described how the dinners reminded him of Dracula's castle, where Lugosi has 3 young female vampires who service the place.
They're just saying it.
Bro.
They're saying it over and over again. A vampire that sucks the life out of people and likes young girls around him. They all knew, and the government is still claiming there were no clients.
But here's my favorite part of all of this, because Epstein's gone. You might believe that he took his own life. You might think that he was murdered. But there are people who are living today who had close contact with him, including Steve Bannon, who has said that he videotaped hours of interviews in the mansion with Epstein in 2019. Framed photos of Bannon, including a mirror selfie snapped by Epstein, were kept in at least 2 rooms in the mansion. So Bannon has said on the record that he thinks the Epstein files should be released. And Bannon, if you genuinely think that, how about you release your files?
Yeah, wait a minute. Why don't we have Bannon's tapes?
Interviews? What happened?
No, that's insanity. Why don't we have Bannon's tapes? Mr. I'm gonna take down the establishment. I'm a populist. Oh yeah. Well, by the way, we should have an authoritarian leader. Wait, what? Okay. Oh, democracy is not that big a deal. Okay, let's just. Hey, brother. Yeah. All your BS about populism. Where's the goddamn tapes?
Yeah, let's see.
Where's the goddamn tapes? Why don't you show them? What's in the tapes that you don't want to? Okay, guys, think about it. Even if you're hardcore MAGA and you love Bannon and Trump, okay? If he has interesting information on the tapes, why wouldn't Bannon release them?
That's exactly right.
Okay, the only reason, even if it was mildly interesting, he does a show, he wants more people to watch, he wants more attention. Even if it's like relatively dull, you would release them, right? Oh, I have Epstein tapes, everybody would come watch. Literally the entire internet would come watch, right? The only reason not to release them is if it has incriminating evidence against Steve Bannon or his allies. Donald Trump.
Why were there photos of Bannon in not 1, but 2 separate rooms in this property? Why? Anyway, all right, well that's, those are the birthday letters, those are the various, public figures who are kind of implicated in what was found in this property. But there was also creepy stuff found on the property as well. Dozens of framed prosthetic eyeballs lined the entryway. A sculpture of a woman wearing a bridal gown and clutching a rope was suspended in a central atrium. Now the photo, we can't use the photo, we don't have permission to do so, but if you go to the New York Times piece, they have the photos available for you to look at. We'll include a link in the description box for anyone who's interested. Now in the office, according to photos reviewed by the Times, Epstein showcased a green first edition of Lolita, the 1955 novel in which an intellectual develops a sexual obsession with a 12-year-old girl and repeatedly rapes her. By the way, all of these, let me just ask you something. All of these powerful people are hobnobbing with Jeffrey Epstein, scientists, financiers, all these people, and they see all of this like disturbing stuff in this property, and they didn't know that this guy was a creep. They didn't know, like, you didn't ask any questions. The Lolita book didn't make you consider the red flags here?
Well, I mean, they did.
Like Bill, I'm sorry, but Bill Clinton hanging out with this guy as much as he did, he didn't know, he didn't know.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go further than that, hold on. So first of all, this is a house of horrors. Like, what's with the eyeballs? That's insanity. And I saw the picture, it's super creepy, like statue mannequin of a bride hanging for dear life on a rope. In the central atrium, you walk into the house, and the creepiest thing you've ever seen is in the middle of a young girl in despair. There's eyeballs everywhere. There's a glorious map of greater Israel, right? There's a The original, look, you're an intellectual, you read Lolita, no big deal, that's normal, right? You went and bought an original version of the 1955 version of Lolita when everyone knows that you were prosecuted already for being with underage girls? Come on. But Anna, did they know? Well, they obviously all knew because they wrote it down. They're like, oh yes, and you are with young girls. Donald Trump said, everybody knows Jeffrey Epstein likes them young. Like what? Like they're all comic book villains.
I know, it's crazy. Now, I want to get to Les Wexner, okay? So the New York Times claims that Epstein bought the townhouse from billionaire Les Wexner, who owns L Brands, by the way, which includes Victoria's Secret. But Epstein's relationship with Wexner is super suspicious. It's been reported that the property was actually given to him, not sold to him, and the transaction was for $1. Vanity Fair claims, the New York Times claims, no, there's documentation showing that Epstein bought the property for $20 million. I don't know what to believe, but what I do know is that Epstein did have a weird relationship with Les Wexner. Wexner met Epstein sometime around 1986 after they were introduced by Wexner's insurance mogul friend, guy by the name of Robert Meister, whose firm handled insurance for the Limited. And then after Epstein died, Wexner seemed to claim that Epstein had stolen money from him, but never reported it to the FBI, which was strange. And Wexner even gave Epstein his mother Bella's seat on the board of the Wexner Foundation, and in fact, gave Epstein complete control of his estate, power of attorney in general, not like limited power of attorney or power of attorney over some of Wexner's finances. No, complete power of attorney. That is insane. No one does that. Billionaires don't do that. No one does that. Now, it gets worse. So, former security chief for the Limited, Jerry Merritt, recalled once asking Wexner why Epstein was so well compensated. Les just said, because I got more money than I can ever spend, said Merritt. Les gave him free reign over his checkbook. In 2019, the Wall Street Journal reported Epstein earned $200 million from Wexner. Merritt puts the number at 400 million, okay? So, and for those, really hoping that Epstein wasn't tied to Mossad in any way, shape, or form, you gotta admit that the guy did have some pretty close ties to a lot of Zionists. So for instance, in 1991, Wexner co-founded a philanthropic organization of Jewish billionaires known as the Mega Group, which uses some of its vast resources to shape Middle East policy. In 2003, Wexner's foundation commissioned GOP messaging guru Frank Luntz to advertise American Jewish leaders, or advise American Jewish leaders on how to rally support for Israel. For a solid year, you should be invoking the name of Saddam Hussein and how Israel was always behind American efforts to rid the world of this ruthless dictator and liberate their people, Luntz's recommendation stated.
So, if you would like to start a war for Israel, what you should do is overwhelming propaganda starting in 2021 all the way to when we invade in 2023, and have all of your dogs in government and media say Saddam Hussein, Saddam Hussein, Saddam Hussein. And even though Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11, and they know that, Saddam Hussein was against Al-Qaeda and would murder Al-Qaeda inside his country, okay? So, but at the time, the Israeli government said Iraq was their #1 enemy. Who do they say is their #1 enemy now? Iran. Oh, we just bought Iran. Interesting. So guys, there's only 2 possibilities on Wexner. There's not a third. So one is Epstein had something on him and went to Wexner and said, you have infinite money, you're gonna give me half of it. And Wexner was like, no way, or 2/3 of whatever, no way. He's like, all right, or you're gonna spend the rest of your life in prison. Which one do you want? All that money's gonna go to waste. You're gonna go to prison, you're gonna be humiliated, etc. So give me everything I want. That is possibility #1. Which, by the way, then actually is, to some degree, if that's true, that means that maybe it's not necessarily an intelligence agency. Maybe he just got the money from Wexner, right? By blackmailing him personally. That's possible, it's definitely possible, right? So possibility #2 is, this is how Mossad funneled money to Epstein by getting super friendly, pro-Israel, AIPAC supporting Americans to go, oh, I need Epstein to run my money. Oh, look, he took all hundreds of millions of dollars. And look, everyone that went to his place that are super rich and powerful are now on tape doing terrible illegal things. Oh, golly gee, I guess that's how it happened, right? And I don't know which one is true, but I can't even conceive of a third option. The Wexner explanation. I really like the guy.
Yeah, seriously.
At one point, Wexner was the 6th richest man in the world. People don't get to be the richest man in the world or anywhere near that list by going, oh, I will give you my checkbook. You do whatever you like with it. Said almost no rich person ever, okay, in a situation like that. And remember, Epstein's a college dropout. He has no expertise at all. And in fact, the Vanity Fair piece was really good. And if you read the whole thing, you'll see the first set of finance people to deal with Epstein, they're like, who is this clown? He doesn't even own a computer. He has no idea what he's talking about when he talks about financial instruments. Totally ignorant.
Yeah, and he would go out of his way to make it impossible for like rich people that he had no interest in to like invest their money with him or work with him. So he would claim, like he turned down people who wanted him to manage hundreds of millions of their dollars, right? And he would argue, no, I only take clients worth $1 billion or more. Like he wasn't, in my opinion, based on those close to him who have put out statements, he wasn't actually managing people's money.
Yeah, if you only told me the Wexner part of this story,
yeah.
I wouldn't even necessarily assume an intelligence agency. I would probably assume the reverse. I would think Epstein ran it by himself. He got rich from Wexner, and then he realized, oh, this is a great scam. And then he did it to a whole bunch of people and got richer and richer and got everything he wanted until he got caught, right? And that is definitely still plausible. The part where it gets weird, guys, is when the American government goes, no, there were no clients.
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
And under both Democrats and Republicans, they're like, we're not releasing the Epstein files, and we're not telling you about any of the clients. And then he's got a map of Israel sitting there, and then Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was one of the biggest Israeli spies of all time, stole US nuclear secrets and gave it to Israel, and that's why they have the nuke, right? And the prime minister of Israel goes 30 times, and anyone who talks about it, oh, no, you're not allowed to talk about it. Like their reaction to the story leads me to believe that it's an intelligence agency. But the Wexner one could go either way, the evidence from that. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.